Hey guys, welcome back, and today I've got an exciting Purple Kaido winning deck list from the CoreTCG event piloted by Jesse. Congratulations to him. He played a couple of non-traditional cards, and it seems to have paid out for him, so I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of this deck. Coming into this weekend, you got the PPG online event, and I want you guys to be as prepared as possible. So as we can see here, we've got purple, and what are the weird aspects of this deck? We've got 4 of the big purple Kaido. I've seen people usually play him at 3 to 2, because he's really top heavy. But I'm going to be honest with you. When I'm playing blue, the scariest card in the purple deck is Kaido. Multiple Kaidos is very difficult to deal with in terms of aggression, the amount of power it can bring out. And once they have stage, they can go from 10 to 5 to 6. On the following turn, they'll be at 8, right? So with 8, they can go put 1 on their leader. They'll 6 you, they'll 10 you, they can burn you still. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. You never want to be at 2 against purple, and having multiple of the big cost Kaidos, a fantastic removal card, fantastic aggression card. I can understand why he wanted to push it up to 4. I told people early on that I wanted to play 4 Kaido, and they looked at me as if I was crazy. And since I was exploring blue, I didn't really fully explore the possibilities that purple had in store. So let's just start with the event cards, and then we'll move from there. So we've got 4 of the Blast Breath. That's pretty standard. Blast Breath is an amazing counter. 1 cost 4K. As long as you're leaving 1 open, you're pretty safe. You leave 2 open, you're omega safe, right? So that's one of the best cards in the purple deck. I can understand why he played 4. And now for the weirdest card in his deck, All-Star Calamities. Now, All-Star Calamities is a 4 cost do nothing. 4 cost do nothing, no counter. When I first read this card and I played the limited events, I played actually purple at both of the limited events that I went to, did really, really well with it. The worst card in my deck, or the card I hated the most, was All-Star Calamities. When I first got 2 purple structure decks and I mixed them together, I put 4 All-Star Calamities in my deck to see if I really enjoyed the card because I wanted it to trigger in life. That card in life is unbelievable. Draw a card, gain a Dawn, fantastic. But there's oftentimes I find it in my hand that it just was doing nothing. So I decided to cut it from my deck, and a lot of people did in favor of Brachio Bomber, a 6 cost removal spell that kind of ramps you as well. But he went for the All-Star Calamities because it just does a little more, I guess, in life, a little cheaper. If you're in a situation that you're casting this from your hand for 4 Dawn, I'm pretty sure you won the game. This card is very difficult to cast from hand, but then again, purple in general does have discard outlets, which we'll get to later, and I can understand why he played 4 of this, because it seems like all he wanted to do was ramp to 10 and Kaido you, and this deck does it. This is the way to do it. Then we have 4 Onigashimas. Onigashimas is the best stage in the game right now. That card is unbelievably unbalanced. The games that you see stage and the games that you don't are night and day. Such a strong card. You don't want a full mulligan for it always, but you might want to, you want to hope for it to be in your hand as quickly as possible, as it allows you to get to the top end, right? You don't want a full mulligan, have a hand of Onigashimas, the Jacks, and things like that, and then not be able to have any top end along with it, right? You're ramping for fun. Oftentimes you can keep that hand, hope that you get some top end off the top of your deck, on the top of your life, but those are usually more riskier game plans. But obvious four of on the Blast Breath. We have obvious 4 of that's Black Maria, which is your 2 cost blocker. This card's fantastic, 2 cost, 2k, and with combo power, amazing card. Who's Who? I originally thought this card was fantastic. It triggers in life, it does all these things, but you only want it for 2 specific matchups, and for 1 card in specific more than anything, you want it for Sentamaru. If they ever Sentamaru, this is one of the best answers in the game for that card. It allows you to deal with it so you don't get snowballed out of control, as well as it can deal with Zoros. Zoros is a 7k that's swinging at you, which is very difficult to defend, especially for a deck that has a little bit less combo power due to some of the inclusions of All-Star Calamities and things like that. So we need to play Who's Who at a reasonable count, not too much because he's no combo, but definitely 3, I think, is the sweet spot where everyone has landed with it, and I have no arguments there. 4 Jack. Now, 4 Jacks. Jack is discard a card, gain a Dawn. If you have All-Star Calamities in your hand, or if you have an extra copy of the stage, you can just dump it, gain a Dawn. He's a 4k 3 cost, so he has a stat line that allows him to attack in the future with just 1 Dawn. Make sure that he's aggressive, deals with early board states, deals with aggressive decks and aggressive board scenarios like with red. So definitely a very good card. I didn't value him when I was playing the Singleton structure deck format, but the more that I played this guy, the more I really, really enjoyed him. Then we got Sasaki. Just another card that lets you filter. You know, if you don't have the top end, you're not getting to the top end, Sasaki might let you just go ahead and lose a Dawn to draw a card, potentially get you to the Queens, the Kings, the Kaidos. So definitely is a great inclusion. Again, he's a 3-cost 4K with combo power. He's a great card. Then we have Sheep's Head. We're playing Sheep's Head over the X-Drakes because it seems like Sheep's Head just allows us to, once again, deal with early board pressure, because all your deck wants to do, stabilize the early game, dominate the late game, which I can see just by the inclusions of the cards that he has gone and posted that it just makes sense. So again, 2-cost 4K with counter, so it can deal with board states. It can go ahead and be aggressive. It can be defensive. It seems like the 2 costs, just like the Jinbei in the previous deck profile, I undervalued them, but those cards are unbelievably good. We're playing maxing out on the 2K combo power here that is ulti. The weird part is there are no page 1s, so we're never doing ulti page 1. Now, ulti page 1 people thought was very, very strong, especially in the single format. People would hold the ulti page 1 combo in hand as opposed to mulliganing it because they would think that summoning a 5K and a 6K for the cost of 4 while losing a Dawn was too impactful to not play. And we have Jesse here saying, no, that's not the case. I just want to live and summon Kaido. Now, ulti page 1 is still a very strong combo, but I can understand why you didn't include the page 1. It's a little interesting why we chose to play the X-Drakes as opposed to maybe the page 1s. But again, when you think of the game plan that he was going for, deal with early, win late, it just makes sense. We opted out of the page 1s for what seems to be All-Star Calamities as well as the X-Drakes. So that was the main differences that he went ahead and made between other decks, especially with the top end ratios being a 4 of the big Kaido. So ulti just showing that it's a 2K. We're gonna have to live, hold these in hand until you need to cast them. Try not to over counter. Try to just stabilize. We have 3 of the X-Drakes for the same reason. He's just a little heftier, so we just went down on him just a tad. 5K is a great stat line, but 3 cost is pretty expensive. 1 more cost for 1K more power. Jesse thinks not. Then we got 4 of the Queens. Nothing to be said here. One of the best blockers in the game. Has a fantastic on-play. You know, lets you cycle to your better cards and lets you remove the extra copies of cards you don't need. The Who's Who's, the Stages, the All-Star Calamities, and gets you to the cards that you do need, such as ultis and blast breaths. Then we got King. Stage into King, man. That curve is unbelievable. That curve is so strong. Your opponent like whiffs on their 2 and then they go into a 4. They'll drop a 4 and you just answer it while developing a 7K. It's just too powerful. And then we got 4 of the big Kaido, which is the win condition of the deck. Multiple Kaidos into your opponent is just a little bit too much to deal with. Just 10K a turn. It's almost unkillable. 1 blast breath puts it all the way up to 14, so you have to put 7 on your Flamingo minimum to even try to kill it. This card is just a little too hefty, deals with almost any other card. The only cards that it doesn't seem to interact with are legitimately the Flamingo and the 7-cost Kid. Everything else, I mean, I guess in itself, everything else, it just kind of runs right over. So it is a fantastic card. The stat line is amazing. Obviously, it has no combo power, but you got to have something. So I understand why he went ahead and ran 4 of this, as all he's trying to do is close out the game with the big Kaidos, along with just maybe a couple more chip damages from what is like a Sheep's Head or a King or a Sasaki. Put him to 2 and set up the kill turn that is insert card here plus Kaido, 7 Dawn, -7, last hit with the big Kaido. And obviously we got our leader here, fantastic purple leader, probably the best purple leader that we have for a while. So congrats again to Jesse. Thank you guys for joining in for another deck profile, and I hope you guys have an excellent luck on this weekend's PPG tournament. I will be commentating it along with some other co-hosts, so I'm excited to see you guys there. And as always, keep on gaming. Whoa.